The Uncharted Future. A collection of sci-fi visions. This story is called The Quantum Commute. In a future city that towered above the clouds, the skyline glimmered with quantum portals. They connected people to any destination within seconds. The portals linked work, home, and distant friends into a network that ignored physical distance. Streets had been repurposed into parks and green corridors. Automobiles were non-existent. High-speed trains had been retired to museums. Even airplanes were artifacts of a past era. People stepped into the portals and emerged on the other side. Distance became an illusion. The portals altered the fabric of space-time. They bent distance into loops and arcs that only its central processing unit understood. Quantum transit networks revolutionized human mobility. A person in Beijing could have lunch in Paris and be back home in under a minute, all without breaking a sweat. Commuting times dropped from hours to a few blinks of the eye. Efficiency surged. Human productivity increased. But then, people started to notice anomalies. The quantum health syndromes. Doctors saw the first cases among the high-frequency users, such as executives, tech entrepreneurs, and consultants who leapt from city to city, never spending more than a few hours in any one place. They complained about memory gaps, disorientation, lost time. Some recounted arriving at their destination without recalling ever stepping into the portal. Some individuals expressed the sensation of their bodies lagging a split second behind their thoughts, akin to an inescapable echo. They could perceive the sights, sounds, smells, and feeling of this occurrence. It was dismissed initially as a minor adaptation issue, a byproduct of rapid portal use. Psychologists called it transient location disorientation. But the incidents grew in number and complexity. People claimed to see flickering versions of themselves in the periphery. Phantom images that vanished if they looked directly at them. Others described feelings of being split, as if part of them lingered in the past while another raced ahead. Then came the first severe case. A woman arrived at a quantum portal in New York, intending to visit her sister in Tokyo. She stepped through, but when she emerged in Japan, she had no recollection of who she was or why she was there. Weeks of testing showed that the portal system had somehow scrambled her memory, creating gaps and overlaps. Her sense of time was irreparably altered. Doctors identified the condition as Quantum Cognitive Dissonance, otherwise known as QCD. They noted a correlation between QCD and the number of portal jumps made in quick succession. The portals, they suspected, didn't just bend space. They altered perception in ways that caused reality to blur. Every jump carried with it a small probability of a quantum decoherence event, where the waveform of the traveler's consciousness failed to align perfectly upon rematerialization. Governments and private corporations funded research. Top physicists and neuroscientists were brought together to decode the problem. Was it a fault in the portal's operation? A flaw in human biology when subjected to spatial compression? Or something far more fundamental? A limitation of consciousness itself to withstand the rigors of constant quantum displacement. One theory, proposed by a group from the Institute of Quantum Biophysics, suggested that the portals created a partial wave function collapse. When a person moved through the portals, their consciousness existed in a state of superposition, a fusion of all the possible states and locations their mind could occupy. Normally, the portals resolved these states perfectly, but high-frequency use increased the risk of entanglement errors where fragments of experience splintered off, leaving the person in an unresolved state of being. They tested the theory by using high-speed quantum cameras and neural mapping. The results were alarming. They showed that each portal jump caused minute but cumulative changes in the neural pathways responsible for memory and perception. People were, in effect, being rewritten by their travels, their minds subtly altered with each trip. A partial ban was proposed, limiting travel to critical personnel only. Public outcry was fierce. The portals had become indispensable. Entire cities had been redesigned around them. Commuters relied on the system as much as they did on electricity or water. The ban was amended to focus only on reducing jumps for non-essential reasons. But the damage had been done. People started seeing portals as a threat. Daily commuters cut back their usage. Cities erected physical barriers around the portals, and scientists continued their research. They found that even short trips across town could introduce minor neurological anomalies. People began tracking their jumps, counting each like a ticking clock counting down. Within 2 years, a new set of symptoms appeared. Those who used the portals sparingly developed hallucinations. These were flashes of places they had never been, people they had never met. The quantum transit networks blamed it on media hysteria. Skeptics accused the company of hiding the true extent of the damage. An anonymous whistleblower leaked internal documents. The portals weren't just malfunctioning, they were fundamentally unsafe for human cognition. The issue lay in the way they compressed reality. When the human body was transported, it maintained physical integrity. But the mind, structured around electrochemical signals and neural pathways, didn't operate on a purely physical level. It relied on a complex interaction of information fields that quantum portals could not replicate perfectly. Every time a person stepped through, their mind lost something. Memories, connections, pieces of identity, until what remained was a hollow shell. The portals shut down. Panic ensued. Cities that had become dependent on the portal's connectivity suffered. People were trapped and couldn't visit loved ones or maintain their globalized businesses. The world contracted. Businesses collapsed. Governments reverted back to the old ways. Within a decade, only a few portals remained. They were used strictly for scientific purposes, studied as relics of an era that sought to transcend distance but failed to foresee the human cost. Cities returned to older forms of travel. Electric cars, high-speed trains, and long-haul flights. The scars left by the portals were deep. The world's population, once hyperconnected, had become isolated, wary of technology that promised too much. Quantum commute disorders became a recognized medical condition, with entire clinics dedicated to treating people who had lost parts of their minds to the portals. The brightest minds continued their research, but there was a growing consensus that human consciousness was simply not equipped to withstand the quantum rearrangement. What began as humanity's greatest leap forward became its most sobering cautionary tale. A future shaped by technology had to respect not just the physical laws, but the fragile threads of thought, memory, and a sense of self. As society began to rebuild after the closure of the portals, the focus shifted toward understanding the human mind in a way that went beyond traditional neuroscience. Researchers dove into the fields of quantum biology and cognitive psychology, seeking insights that could one day bridge the gap between technology and human experience. Universities established interdisciplinary programs combining quantum physics with psychology and ethics. New theories emerged, arguing that the mind operated not just as a set of neural connections, but as a complex system influenced by its environment. Physical and virtual. The quantum anomalies from portal use highlighted the need for a holistic understanding of consciousness. In one lab, scientists experimented with a neural synchronization device, NSD, designed to harmonize brain waves during transportation. Early tests suggested that carefully controlled stimulation of certain frequencies could help travelers retain their identity and memories, even after using a portal. The NSD could theoretically recalibrate the mind's wave functions before and after each jump, minimizing the effects of quantum displacement. However, the implications of this research raised ethical questions. Would using a NSD alter a person's thoughts or memories in unintended ways? Could it create a new form of dependence on technology, further distancing individuals from their inherent identities? As debates raged, an underground movement began to form among those who had suffered from quantum commute disorders. They dubbed themselves the Memory Keepers, advocating for the preservation of authentic human experiences without technological interference. They argued that true identity was rooted in personal history, and the loss of memory was an affront to the core of humanity. The Memory Keepers organized protests, demanding that research prioritize individual experiences over technological advancement. They shared stories of their struggles, how their memories had faded, how they had lost family connections, friendships, and even the sense of self. Their message resonated with many who had felt the collateral damage of the quantum commute. Some memory keepers began experimenting with their own methods for retaining memories. They created communal spaces where people could gather, share their stories, and connect with one another without technology. They emphasized the importance of physical presence, storytelling, and the tactile experience of life. The movement garnered attention and support, leading to public discourse about the future of technology and its role in society. In a surprising twist, a small faction within the scientific community, frustrated with the limitations of human transportation, began to advocate for a return to the portals. They believed that with further research and safety protocols, a new generation of portals could be developed, one that accounted for the unique nature of human consciousness. They proposed a concept called quantum mediation, which involved an initial assessment of the traveler's cognitive state before each portal jump. By measuring brain waves and understanding individual susceptibility to quantum anomalies, they hoped to create a safe environment for travel. The memory keepers opposed this movement vehemently. They argued that no technology could replace the fundamental human experience of journeying through space and time. They held forums, shared research, and urged the public to consider the long-term implications of reintroducing portals without fully understanding their effects. The debate created a societal rift. On one side stood those eager to embrace technology again, optimistic about the potential for safe travel and renewed connections. On the other, the memory keepers and their supporters warned against repeating history, emphasizing the need to value human experiences over convenience. As both sides grew more passionate, public opinion fluctuated. Media outlets covered the controversy extensively. Some questioned the motives of the scientists advocating for portals, suspecting corporate interests behind their push. Others celebrated the potential return to connectivity and freedom. Individuals on both sides faced personal challenges. Those who had once thrived on the speed and efficiency of the quantum portals struggled to adapt to a slower pace of life. Meanwhile, those in the memory keeper movement grappled with their fragmented identities and the loss of shared experiences that had once defined them. The conflict reached a boiling point when a high-profile case drew national attention. A prominent scientist advocating for the return of portals suffered a severe cognitive episode during a live demonstration of the NSD. He experienced a total disconnection from reality, unable to recognize family members or recall significant aspects of his life. The incident shocked the public. Many questioned the safety of the NSD and the motivations behind the push for portals. The memory keepers capitalized on the event, rallying support for their cause. They organized peaceful protests and awareness campaigns, urging society to reconsider the implications of quantum technology on human life. Amid the chaos, a new initiative emerged, a collaborative effort between scientists, psychologists, and the memory keepers aimed to create a quantum ethics framework, a set of guidelines for the responsible use of technology. This framework would prioritize individual experiences and memories, ensuring that future advancements in quantum transportation were developed with caution and respect for the complexities of the human mind. As discussions around the quantum ethics framework continued, people began to engage in deeper reflections about the role of technology in their lives. They considered the balance between connectivity and authenticity. For some, the experience of losing memories served as a reminder of the fragility of human identity. In the end, the quantum commute served as a catalyst for a deeper exploration of consciousness and identity, reminding society that the true essence of life transcends technology.